Hello everybody, it is November 3rd, 2018, and I'm out here at the test tank today doing some winterizing. About halfway through my batch of motors to winterize this year, and I've gotten some requests in the past to do a video on my process of winterizing, so I thought I would give it a shot here. And this is in no way the only way to do it. This is the way I do it, and it seems to work for me. So I'll give you a rundown here on what I do for my process. This particular motor hasn't run since I think it was 4th of July week this year. And it's been hanging on the rack since, but hasn't been winterized yet, so we're going to give it a shot here and do the process on this one today. First off, I use a mixture of 8-to-1 two-stroke outboard oil, 8-to-1 mix. It's heavy oil mix, and that will do a good job of coating the inside of the crankcase, the engine internals, with oil. And it leaves a heavier film on the cylinder walls as well, but I will still fog them if I plan on storing them for more than just one winter. I will do the whole fogging and everything on this one just to show the whole process. If I know I'm going to run the motor the following year and it's only going in storage for a few months, I'll just run the 8-to-1 and then check the lower unit or change it if it needs to be changed. But to start with, we're going to fire it up here on 8-to-1, and I've got the vent fan going in the test tank. I'm going to pump up the fuel. I'm using my pressure tank on this. This is a fuel pump motor, so I got my adapter here to run a single line tank on a single line motor on a double line tank. So I only have to mix up one tank of fuel. That way I can run all my pressure tank motors and my fuel tank pump motors on the same tank of fuel. Throttle up, choke out, neutral. And this might take a few pulls to get going, we'll see. There we go. This motor was just tuned up last winter, so it got everything. It got a full ignition, fuel system, water pump, the whole works. It's chilly out here today. It's only in the mid-40s today, so it takes a little run on choke a while to get warmed up. I'll let this motor run a while here and get warmed up. I'll take the choke off, and once it's warm, I'll run it for 10 minutes or whatever, and once it's up to temperature, I'll come back to the video. Alright, it's been running for a couple minutes. It's warm now, warm enough to run on its own without the choke. I got it in gear running in the tank. See, the exhaust is coming out of the vent fan there, doing a good job of keeping that evacuated. I'll let this motor continue to run for another 6 or 7 minutes probably, and it'll be up to temperature, and we'll come back and I'll pull the fuel line off. Alright, the motor's been running for a while now. It's nice and warm. Still got it running in gear. I'm going to pull the fuel line off. Let it take the fuel out of the adapter hose. this one I got tight on pump, so you can see when it starts to run out of fuel right there. And when it runs out, or when it gets close to running out, I'll start fogging through the port. Starting to fog it lightly. Now I'm fogging it heavily. Just tried to die. There. And you can see that lots of smoke from the fogging oil. The carburetor is pretty much empty because it ran out of fuel and it was just running on fogging oil at the end, and then when I let off on it, it just died. So from there, I will pull it out of the test tank and let the lower unit drain a bit while I take it over to the work stand, and then we'll check the gear case. Okay, so here we are on the work stand. I've just got it draining right now. Draining the rest of the water, and of course that's unburnt fuel and oil and stuff from inside the exhaust housing that comes out of that weep hole. So I just, as it's draining out, I'm getting my stuff here, my screwdrivers, and I've got my oil bucket here in case I need to change this. It shouldn't need it. It was sealed last year, and as long as I don't have any water in the lower unit oil, I only put about 3 hours on this motor this season, so I won't change it if it doesn't show water. But if it does, then I will put fresh oil in it, and I will then address the seal issue. I'll put a note on it and address it next season probably. But it shouldn't show water. I'm going to loosen the screws here, and I'll be back and we'll take a look at the oil. Okay, I got the screw loosened up. I'll take it out. See if I can do this with one hand. Once it comes out, we'll see, as long as it's not got water coming out or milky oil. Nope, it's nice clean oil still. So I will just put that plug screw right back in there, and I dropped it in the oils. Anyway, I'll fish that out, and we'll come back to the rest of the process. Alright, I got the plug back in, and we're going to finish this up. I'm going to take the plug wires off. Take the spark plugs out. And now that I have the spark plugs out, I will fetch my fogging oil, and we will fog the insides of the cylinders. Alright, I got the motor tipped up on the stand. Take my fogging oil. Just kind of squirt it around in the cylinders. And go down here to the flywheel, and just by hand, just turn it over a few times. Kind of distribute that fogging oil. That's good. And then we'll replace the spark plugs. Probably be easier if I had both hands and could see to do this, but we'll get it. Here's one. 2. The wrench on there. Tighten it up. And put the wires back on. That is pretty much it. Now just let the motor hang vertically and it will self-drain so long as all the holes are open and not blocked. When I will put the cover back on this, and once I put the cover back on and hang it up on the storage rack, I will pull the choke lever closed. That closes up the carb throat and keeps any little critters that might get in there out. And I also usually put a scented dryer sheet underneath the hood, and that seems to help keep mice out. So I don't know how long that lasts, but so far I haven't had any problems with them over a single winter with dryer sheets under there. So without them, I get mice in my motors, but with them in there, it doesn't seem to. It seems to keep them away. Haven't had any trouble. So that's what works for me. Hope this helps somebody. Till next time, thanks for watching. Keep your prop out of the mud.